Hey y'all, welcome to the Porch Chronicles. So I am on the porch today, but I wanted to talk about how the Lord revealed to me that the spirit of rejection was behind the reason why I was a lesbian for like 13 years. So I don't even want to share this. I don't even want to share this, but it's so much. It's such a big part of my testimony that I really kind of, dance around. I really kind of just don't mention it unless like people ask me and stuff like that. But I was just like, girl, you were very much a billboard lesbian, meaning I was out there. So it's just like, how could I not say anything about it now? But I'm going to talk about the part specifically how the Lord revealed to me that the spirit of rejection was behind all of this. So this started, I think my first girlfriend or whatever, that was like in 10th grade, I believe, like in 10th grade. And I always thought that, so if people are like, well, how you got into this? And I would be like, oh, I just was kind of just curious because I like was around it. So I was like around this lesbian couple. I won't even go into that. That's their business. But I was around this lesbian couple, and that kind of like piqued curiosity in me. So I was like, yeah, that's kind of what happened. I was like, that was a reason or whatever. And like, last year, like the Lord had, started to show me like, no, this is where it actually came from. And he like took me all the way back to 10th grade, to the classroom, and like everything, like just so vividly. And he showed me that due to the rejection of men, and at that time it wasn't even men, it was boys. Due to the rejection of boys, that's how you got in to women. And for some reason, like, I never like put two and two together. Like I never would have put that together because I've always said that, like, oh, guys never did nothing to me. And like, I never had like no issues with guys. But then the Lord like really showed me like, no, guys rejected you. Like guys that you wanted relationships with, they would get other girlfriends. I'm telling that. Oh God, you got me sharing all my business on me. But they would get other girlfriends, or they just want to sleep with you and things like that. And being that I was around this lesbian couple, I was just like, well, you know what, let me try this or whatever. So I ended up trying it or whatever. And when I first went into it, I was just like, what is this, girl? You just doing something. And that's really what I thought. I was like, girl, you just out here just doing all kind of stuff, but not knowing that that really would have been my life for like a long time. So like when, and what I want to get to is like really my salvation story about it all. So like when I went through a period where, in high school, I got saved, and that lasted for about 2 years. Like I just started talking to women, to girls then, but then like I got a relationship with the Lord and I left that alone or whatever. And so that lasted for 2 years, and then I ended up like backsliding because I was just like, I am too young to be living this holy, honey. I was like, I was like 17 or something, and I was like, yeah, I gotta live life a little bit. So I talk to women, like different type of women, like all this kind of stuff. And it wasn't until 2023, like when I was at Forest City Church, and like I felt like the Lord called me again. So like when I backslid back when I was in, I think I was about to graduate high school, so this is 2010. Like back when I backslid in 2010, like I just felt like I was in like a reprobate state. Like, like knowing something was wrong, like knowing something was sinful, but just really thinking like, oh, God's okay with it, God's cool with it or whatever like that. But like just really had, like no desire to change. Like I used to go to church with my girlfriend and all this kind of stuff, had no like conviction. So when I went to Forest City and I felt the Lord convict me, I was like, what? Like I haven't felt this feeling in like since I left since I backslid. I was like, whoa, like I ain't felt this feeling like in forever. So I was like, drop everything, Craig's in trouble. I'm coming back to you, Lord, because I literally thought that the Lord was done with me. Like I really thought that he was done with me, because I really backslid. Let's be honest, I really backslid because I wanted to be with this girl. I did. So I really thought the Lord was done with me. So when the Lord called me at Forest City, I'll never forget it. And I was just like, Lord, and it was the first time that I visited Forest City on a Sunday. The Lord called me back, and I was like, okay, bet. Now at this time, that what landed me up at Forest City, I was going through something with this girl, and I was like, you know what, I'm just about to get closer to the Lord. Like forget all that rah you got going on. Like I ain't doing all that. Now closer to the Lord to me then was maybe reading my Bible, praying, but it was never being close, meaning living holy or changing my ways. Like that was not the plan, honey. So I ended up, giving my life back to the Lord, and I was doing good or whatever. I was like, I'm really not focusing on like none of that stuff. I was still travel nursing and stuff like that. So I really wasn't home. I really was kind of just in my bag and just like, just loving on the Lord and stuff like that. She came back around and was like, oh, I want to be with you, blah, blah, blah. Now I'm just in this state of like, I don't know what to do. Like, cause I do want to be with you, but it's just like, but I'm with the Lord now. So like what to do. So, we ended up getting back together and stuff like that. But I was like, okay, now what you're not going to do, Naisha, you're not going to stop going to church. You're not going to stop praying. You're not going to stop doing none of this stuff. Like, just, we going to push past this. We're not going to stop none of this. We just going to keep going or whatever. And, so like, so as I kept, as we kept talking and stuff, I was just like, man, I don't even want to do this no more. Like, this just ain't the same. Like, I just really like when I'm like with the Lord and like I'm just in the space with the Lord, like I was just like, I just can't do this. So I ended up like breaking it off with us, and I was just like, I ain't really about this life no more. Like, I really want to change and stuff like that. So we ended up stopped talking, and then the Lord led me to this book right here. And I think one of my things was gay girl, good God. And one of my things was, I was just like, okay, so after I then stopped talking to her, I just came back to the Lord. I was like, Lord, like, I don't know what the future holds for me. I don't know if I'm going to be straight. I was like, I'm really, having a lot of anxious thoughts because I'm trying to look like what it looks like in the future. Because at that moment, like, I had no desire for a man at all during that moment. So I was like, I'm not trying to be all so far in advance. And that wasn't my focus. Like, when I came back to the Lord after, that little couple month relationship with her, I was just like, no, I'm coming to you for you, not for you to make me straight, but I want to build a relationship with you. And I'll never forget it. It was one Father's Day, and I was in tears, and I was like, what you crying for? You crying over your daddy? And I was like, I ain't even crying to my dad, but what I was crying about, I was crying that I didn't have a husband, I didn't have kids. And I was like, what? I had to go back to I had to book a therapy session, because I told my therapist, I was like, what in the world is happening? And she was like, well, Naisha, isn't that what you're praying for? And I was like, yeah, but I ain't expect the Lord to actually do it or whatever. So I was just excited about that. And what this book talks about is, like, this book just really talks about how the purpose of, like, salvation and all that stuff is to get closer to God. And that as you get closer to God, your desires will start to change. So, like, continue to, like, be patient with yourself. And, like, literally, that's what I did. Like, I took my mind off of, like, all the rah-rah, and I literally, like, just put my focus on the Lord and started getting closer to the Lord. And I saw that, like, my desires and stuff started to change. But earlier, last year, the Lord revealed to me, like, in order for you to truly be free, that he has to break the spirit of rejection off of me. And how, like, that was the root cause. Because if I was saying that the reason why I was in this lifestyle was for another reason, then how could I truly be free if, this spirit is, hiding and masking itself? And like the Lord just, like, when I mean to tell you, like, so vividly, like, he walked me through all the times that even led up to this. And I'm really putting y'all in my business, but it's really to just show y'all, like, how good the Lord is. Like, the Lord showed me how I had the spirit of rejection from my father, like, from my father being a married man with a whole nother family, and he did okay raising me, when I was a child, but still it was a form of, like, rejection there, like, even, like, some rejection from when it came to, like, my brother, and even just, like, just really at that time really no good male figures in my life. And then, like, the guys at school, they rejected me because all they wanted was what they wanted. So, like, the Lord, like, really revealed to me, like, no, rejection is the reason for all this stuff. So this is what you have to deal with at the root. And that in order for you to have a healthy relationship with a man, you have to deal with this. So that was a lot. Like, when the Lord revealed to me, like, all that stuff, like, I was just in tears. I was like, well, what to do now? And then the Lord told me to go back to therapy. The Lord said, you go back to therapy next year, which was this year now. He's like, I need you back in therapy, walking through and processing all this stuff. And that's what I've been doing. But I think that rejection is just so sneaky. Like, it's just such a sneaky spirit, how it really can just, like, hide undercover. And it wasn't until, this year with Pastor Bev, she came to Ford City, and she prayed. She led us through deliverance of the spirit of rejection, and I just really felt those chains break off of me, because that was the reason why I was in bondage for, like, so many years. And then she had her book right here, and then one of the things that the Lord was really big with me on is identity. Like, even when when a couple of years ago, and I was just like Lord, like, if I'm not gay anymore, like, what's my identity? Because, like, in the gay community, like, pride is, like, everything. Like, oh, I'm a real lesbian. I ain't being with no man and blah, blah, blah. I don't do this. I'm a real one, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, oh, my Lord, like, my identity was really shaped by this. So it's like, okay, if I let this go, like, who am I? So it was just interesting that this book was called Rejection, Identity Thief Exposed, but just how Christ now has to shape my identity of like, like, okay, no, this is who you are. You are a daughter of Christ. Because sometimes we think like, oh, I got to get it together. I got to get it together. I got to get it together. I can say this point right here. My students always tell me like, you're so mature. And I'm like, I'm not no mature. But anyway, like, sometimes we can think that we have to get it together before we come to the Lord, and we feel like we have to have things all planned out. I ain't had none of this planned out. I was like, you're gonna lead me, you're gonna lead me, you're gonna guide me. Now, do I believe, like, if you would have told me like 3 years ago, 4 years ago, like this would have been my life now, I would have never believed you, because I would be like, how I got free from that? How I got free from that? What you mean? I want a husband? What? I wouldn't have believed you. But I think that's what walking with the Lord does. Like, he transforms you on the journey. That he's not looking for you to get yourself together, but he transforms you during the journey. And when I mean to tell you, like, and my biggest advice is, like, some people, they feel like, oh, you got to cut this off. But I'm just telling you, when you walk with the Lord, ain't nobody gonna have to tell you to do nothing. Your desire is going to change. You're not going to want to do it. And one thing I can say that with the rejection, so listen to this now, that rejection led me to, lesbianism, but acceptance in the LGBT community, how they're so accepting of you, that's what kept me there. So you see how that played? Like, rejection led you there, but, acceptance from a community can keep you there. So just knowing that, that the Lord loves you. Like, the Lord loves you. The Lord does not love me any more now that I'm not dating women than he did when I was. And that's just mind-blowing. And that's the gospel. That even while I was yet in my sin, that he died for me. So, yeah, Jesus is love. Like, Jesus is love. And what he's done for me, he can do for others. Because I feel like this is such a huge part of my testimony that I just be kind of sweeping under the rug. I'm like, I don't really want to tell my business like that. But if this video helps one person, then it was all worth it. But yeah, so it's hot out here. I'm going back inside.